Morning, friends. Welcome to Mecum in the Morning. My name's Laurette Nicoll. Next to me, my friend Matt Avery, and we are so excited to be coming to you on this Thursday morning from Indy. Oh my goodness, Matt, we are here. This showroom is incredible. This is my first time. What fantastic. I'm trying to find the right words, right? Because this is just I was expecting something else, and this has already surpassed all my expectations.
Well, I will say, Laurette, you came in on a good weekend because this is the second weekend of Dana Mecum's 39th Original Spring Classic. And as you know from your times joining us for Mecum Auctions, each day just gets bigger and better. And that's certainly true here.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the cars that are behind us, I just walked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, they are so beautiful. But there are rooms and rooms and rooms more than just what we have in here.
There is so much more. Obviously, we're here in the Fall Creek Pavilion. This is kind of, we were talking about it on the way in with our producer, Alyssa, about this is really the grand entrance to everything that's going on here. You know, we've got so many acres of fairground space here that we put cars everywhere, but guests and bidders and spectators come into the Fall Creek Pavilion. And since this renovation has been done the last couple of years, it has really been a great addition. I'm gonna say a fantastic addition just to the overall experience, Laurette. It really gets people hyped up from the moment they get out of their car, they start coming in, they see the signage. And then when you come in here, this is an eye-popping camera moment.
It is.
And it's fun to be here because we can kind of see a lot of people come in. We get group photos over there and we can see people excited just like you. And there's a lot in store, Laurette, so buckle up.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to buckle up right now. I'm getting ready because, you know, just for me coming in Thursday morning, there's so much to see and to do. And, you know, of course, there's going to be 42 pieces of road art. Which road art is getting its own room here in Indy, is that right?
Oh, it's already had its own room for a long time, Laurette. And, you know, this is something else, too, that I think sets the Spring Classic apart is the visuals, and particularly because we have the space to expand road art. You know, we have road art at every Mecum auction.
Sure.
That's nothing new. But what's new here is the quantity of it, is that it takes over the gallery space. And I love it, Laurette, because it's the closest I think we're ever going to get to walking back in time. You know, you see these neon signs, you see the vintage bicycles, and they're all in one space. So I think maybe that'll be our first stop on our unofficial tour after the morning show. We'll head over there and show you the road art area.
You're gonna have to show me your favorite bicycles, and I know you're gonna show me your first one. It's gonna be blue.
Absolutely.
But I'm excited to see what you pick. And of course, there's also 306 cars that are crossing the auction block and 6 collections here at Indy.
Yeah, so much in store today here at the fairgrounds. As you said, Laurette, today we've got a busy day. We've got 306 cars crossing the block. There you can see that entrance here to the Fall Creek Pavilion. Lots of great vehicles. We've got cars, trucks, motorcycles, and as we're going to see even in today's show, we even have some watercraft that are crossing the block. But a lot going on. And of course, it's also a good reminder that while it's best to experience it in person, you want to be here bidding, you want to be part of the auction block. Obviously, you can also register to bid as over the phone and internet, but of course you're going to want to be here in person.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are here in person, of course, we have some incredible merch tees. We have 2. So your favorite color is in one. Did you get that shirt yet? Or are we going to see
well,
that
I will
this
say
weekend?
it's not about color this time, Laurette. It's actually about what's on it, because I love the blue Corvette, but of course the other event exclusive tee is a red one with one of my all-time favorite Camaros, a legendary Camaro ZL1, part of the Coupe program, and equipped with that forbidden fruit, that big 427 with all kinds of power. So I love the fact that Camaro is blue on a red shirt.
I love
but
it.
Nothing wrong with that Corvette Corvette shirt as well. And also pretty cool too on that Corvette shirt. I love how the fairground buildings in the background. So it's a great memento. You know, if you're coming out here for your first time and you want to experience it, you want to take something home, it's awesome because it's not just a cool car. It's really kind of a piece of the fairground experience.
Yeah, and the fairgrounds is such an iconic location, right? You come into Indy and you're just hit straight in the face with cars, historic cars, the history of course, the Speedway. We have here the fairgrounds. So I love that it's all a culmination on those t-shirts. And I hope that we're going to see you debut them.
I will certainly debut. Well, they've already debuted. You can find them in the Mecum merch, but they'll debut in the
but I
morning
want
show.
you to debut.
I think it's rock. I'll rock them.
You know.
Yeah, I'm cool like that. Man, lots over there in the Mecum merch. And also, too, Laurette, the Dodge Storewide, man, that is up and running. I heard tires screeching all day yesterday. The Kids Adventure Zone is back. So really, come out. It's a great place to bring not just your car friends, bring your family, bring your significant other, bring the kids. There's something to do in every single corner here.
Yeah. You guys, where were we? In Vegas. You chucked me in the thrill ride, and you're like, let's try to scare Laurette. I'm like, let's go, because it was so much fun. So highly recommend the Dodge thrill ride.
Chuck might be a little bit of a strong word, but I like it. It's a bold word. It's a bold word. It's good. But
what word would you choose?
I would say we recommended you go on it.
That sounds sweet and gentle, which I don't know. You and Alyssa were both like the little devil horns. I saw.
Yeah, you saw.
The sweet facade, but the devil horns came up a little bit.
Well, anyway, no checking here, but come out to the Dodge Thrill Ride. And, Laurette, since we're talking about Dodge and horsepower and muscle, we have some great previews of what's going to be crossing the block at the rest of the Mecum lineup this year. Obviously, we are full steam ahead here in Indianapolis, but of course, the Mecum schedule does not slow down one bit, and we have auctions throughout the rest of the year, already scheduled, already underway. And one of the great collections that's going to be crossing the block in Music City in Nashville, the newly announced Nashville auction, is the Johnson's Horsepowered Garage Collection.
Amazing. And I'm so excited because these cars, they were purpose-built for performance.
Yeah, so the two here on display, I think there's nearly 20 in total, but the two that we brought out to display here, as you said, purpose-built for performance. One of them you can see there, the legendary 1969 Dodge Daytona, the car that had so much work done on the aero, that nose cone, that gigantic rear wing, so iconic, and it really dominated the racing circuit. This particular example was shipped new to Brookhurst Dodge, in Garden Grove, California, and since then it's been restored back to that showroom condition. Wow. Full restoration. Underneath the hood is that original 440 cubic inch V8 putting out 375 horsepower, likely underrated to keep it there ahead of the pack on the track. And then the other one too, Laurette, that I think might be my favorite, that gorgeous 64 Falcon. You can see it there. Another full overhaul, custom chassis fabrication, integrated roll cage, carbon fiber wheel wells, and then underneath the hood is a 572 Boss 9 V8. So I love that. That one you definitely you'd want to keep in a straight line, but I'm sure it would dominate. But two very exciting cars from that Johnson's Horsepowered Garage Collection. Wow. And as I said, we are just starting to scratch the surface of what's going to be there, making some sweet muscle music in the Motor City. I was trying to be clever there, but you beat me with the punch. It was good. So anyway. But they are here and they are on display and getting people excited. But of course, zeroing back in on what we have also on display, Bree was able to catch up with the only original Once collection, two other exciting cars.
This is the only original Once collection. This bad boy is a 2014 Ferrari LaFerrari, one of 120 produced only for the US market. This is a 2003 Ferrari Enzo. It has just over 3,000 miles. This is the only one with this paint and this interior.
What a title. The only original Once. I mean, if anything is going to start the standard or what you're supposed to expect with that collection coming in and selling here. And of course, Bree choosing that phenomenal collection. I mean, I don't blame her for having those big eyes and being like, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous.
Yeah. And Laurette, today's theme here on Mecum in the Morning has to be, as we start diving more into more of some of the vehicles that are crossing the block, the theme is really rarity in terms of build numbers or specs. And that's certainly true with these two Ferraris here. So starting with the 2003 Ferrari Enzo, This one is the only one with the gray paint and the red interior combo. To say nothing of the specs, Laurette, obviously this also has the 6-liter, 651 horsepower V12 engine. But as we've talked about on the show here, in the world of collecting, the discerning collectors are going to want that rarity. You know, it's not just to have the model. You want the one that stands out from the rest of the build sequence. And certainly with a true supercar like the Enzo, it's not just the specs alone. Once you get into that category, that's great. But when you really want to set out from the rest, you want to know that yours is distinct and unique. And this is certainly true with it being the only one with that color combo that really just allows that new owner to say confidently, hey, mine is one of one.
Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I was trying to say. Unique and beautiful. And, you know, that 2003 Enzo also having just a little bit over 3,000 miles, that must really increase the value too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's the other thing too, when you talk about provenance with in the world of collecting, is that it also is condition, right? And so while, you know, a lot of owners will enjoy their vehicle and rack up tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of miles on a vehicle, there's also a lot of people that want to preserve it, right? Because when the less you drive a vehicle, I know some people say, yeah, you're not enjoying it, but I think a lot of owners can enjoy it by the idea that they are preserving it, right? Because 3,000 miles, and I will say it's also important to note that that's still a good amount. So that means that that owner has been able to get it out and keep the fluids running through it so that it is turnkey and ready to go. But you also still have that like new smell.
Yeah.
And you have that whole experience of that car. I mean, certainly 3,000 is super low and exactly what you want for a vehicle like this.
What side are you on? Are you on the side of driving or are you on the side of preserving it?
Oh man, that's
where would you go?
That's a tough one. I think that I'm going to take a hybrid approach and say that I think light driving where, but you know, it's so cool, Laurette, when you do see owners who are not afraid to get behind the wheel of a vehicle and to experience it. And again, there's a lot of owners that are, you know, I in my travels the last year, I've been able to see a couple Mustang GTDs out in the wild, and it's awesome to see those owners experiencing those cars. And same thing with these vehicles. You know, you go out to Monterey during Car Week, we'll be out there in August, and you do see that's what makes an event like that so unique, is that you do see these hypercars and supercars that traditionally have, you know, that are still in the bubble wrap, metaphorically speaking, in the plastic. But I'm really confident. I think that this Enzo, with that amount of miles, again, like I think that the owners before it have enjoyed it, but it's still barely broken in. And so I think it really comes down to when it crosses the block, that next owner, their decision, again, like it's got enough miles on it where you really could enjoy it. You could do some cross country road trips, or you could certainly get it out. But I could also see it's low enough where I could see them keeping it in a world-class collection and preserving it as is.
Interesting.
And same thing is true with this other vehicle, the 2014 LaFerrari. Now this, I think, is firmly in that category of like new with double digits on the odometer, 57 delivery miles.
So insane.
Laurette, I mean, and again, it speaks to not that the car's not capable of being used, but to build the provenance and for the legacy of this vehicle, this is one that you might want to keep that low just to preserve the authenticity of it.
For sure. And coming into that rare theme, this is one of 120 produced. So when you have 57 delivery miles on it, maybe that's the theme that it also continues with, not only rare, but preservation.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's funny too, Laurette, I will say, like in the automotive community, it's a hot topic what you propose in terms of any vehicle. And it doesn't have to be just a high-end supercar like this. It's funny. It seems like as an owner, you can't win for losing. You know, you have something rare and you don't drive it, and all the experts online hammer you for, oh, look at this person, you know, they're not driving it. Or on the other end of the spectrum, you do get it out and you drive it in the rain, or you drive it, and then all of a sudden all those same experts come out. Look at that person abusing that poor car. So I say, as an owner, do what you enjoy. If it makes you happy to keep the car preserved in your garage and just go look at it and show it, kudos to you. But on the same token, if you're one of those persons that you're out there long hauling and you're not afraid to get some rock chips, hey, that's what the automotive spirit is all about. Yeah, is enjoying it wherever you're at.
Yep, I couldn't agree with you more, Matt. I think you're 100% right. I think I'm in the school of thought of, if I'm gonna own it, I want to drive it. The motorcycles that I have, I want to ride in my garage. So, but also you want to preserve the value. I don't know. It's a personal preference.
It really is.
Yeah.
But speaking of automotive passions, I think that's what we're getting at.
Yeah.
I love the amount of passion that we have here at Mecum Auctions, and one of our passionate team members is Dom. He's our production assistant here on the morning show. He does such a great job helping us with our packages and whenever we're on set. And I will say, whenever we're together, Laurette, Dom, and I, we always end up talking about our shared love of F-bodies. And Dom went out and he found a unique one that kind of got his engine revving.
Here we have this gorgeous 2002 Pontiac Trans Am painted in eye-popping sunset orange metallic. It is one of only 32 that they painted in this color, and they also equipped with a 6-speed manual transmission as well as a power convertible top. Powered by the venerable 325 horsepower LS1 V8 and fed by the legendary Ram Air system, featuring the corner carving capabilities of the WS6 Performance package. It's important when you get into curves and corners to keep the car stable with its larger sway bars. It is loaded with creature comforts such as power windows, power locks, air conditioning, leather seats, and the thundering sound of the Monsoon audio system. My name is Dominic Hoffman. I'm a 14-year veteran here at Mecum Auctions. You get to run into many things like I'm a Trans Am guy, and it seems that every time I turn around, I run into some kind of Trans Am that catches my attention. So this car is special to me. I've owned 2 4th generation, specifically 02 Trans Ams. I owned a black one with an automatic, great car. I owned a sunset orange metallic. I was lucky enough to own the T-top version of the car. And when I spotted this one out on the show field, I said, I have to talk about this car. Very low production car, one of 32 that they built in this color that also has a 6-speed and a power convertible top. I think it's a good entry-level collector car. I think you can still get them as an entry-level collector, and I think they're only going to increase in value.
I love that Dom was able to talk about something that he loves so much. And so Dom mentioned he's a 14-year veteran. One of the things that has struck me about Dom is not only how much he loves those cars, he loves his job, and he really loves his team that surrounds him here at Mecum. So I'm glad that he was able to talk about something that he loves so much, that's so close to his heart, because every time he comes and gets us and we're moving from car to car, he's pointing out the different Camaros that he loves so much. And at the top of that, you mentioned an F-body. Where does that come from?
Okay, yeah. So a lot of Dom and I are perhaps a little geeking out a little bit. We're throwing around a lot of terms. So F-body is the engineering series that General Motors use, going all the way back kind of to the first gen of the Camaro and Firebird. So colloquially, Camaros and Firebirds referred to as F-bodies. Throughout this series, GM has also had A-bodies. They've had B-bodies and different things like that. Okay. So again, that's kind of an internal engineering series that fans and followers to help identify the model, okay? Then Dom threw out 4th gen, which just correlates to the model year. So the Trans Am that he was highlighting was a 4th gen, meaning that it comes from the 4th generation of the Firebird, produced from 93 to 02. So getting you up to speed a little bit. And then I know that this one had even more terminology, being a Trans Am with that WS6. It's a Firebird Trans Am WS6. All that means, Laurette, is that a car like this is just perfect for an enthusiast like Dom. And again, it's one of those where, just like we were talking about with the Enzo, once you get into a type of car like a Trans Am WS6, if you want to stand out, the way you do that would then be seeking out some of those more rare options, or in this case, the rare paint totals.
Okay.
And the sunset orange metallic is a great color. It looks great, even better in the sun. And I mean, that's really kind of what drives the interest, Laurette. You know, we talked last week on the morning show about a Cobra that was in Mystic Chrome, and only 199 were produced in 96. And so again, like, it's just one of those where once you get into that cool car category, sure, if you want to go to the next level, you would start seeking out again some of the rare options or some of the rare paint, so that when you show up to a meet or you show up to a car cruise, yours stands out even more.
And he also mentioned a beginner's collection. So the car did sell for 33,000. When he's mentioning beginner collection, does he mean the first entry level car that you can buy at a $33,000 isn't anything to sneeze at, but since we've seen cars go for $1 million, does he mean entry level by price?
Yeah, I think it's entry by a couple things. One is that, as you mentioned, the car sold yesterday for 33,000. And I think it's one of those where if someone is looking to start building a car collection, as many people are when they come out to Mecum auctions, this is a great place that if you want to buy your first collector vehicle, you can find it here. We have price points all across the map, and it really is a great opportunity for people to come out and find that first collector vehicle, meaning that you're at a place in life where you either have the resources, you have the space for a vehicle like that in your garage, or just the time in your life when you're like, man, I really want to go out and get a vehicle like that. And then I think also from the standpoint of daily livability with a vehicle like that, where it is a classic in every sense of the word, Laurette, but it also still has a lot of the modern conveniences from a standpoint of power windows, AC, even airbags in that case. So, and it's kind of interesting too, because I will say a car like that, also another hot topic, I could see someone coming out and buying that, not just as a collector car, but as a daily driver.
Sure.
I could really see that. I know Dom would definitely be in that category of buying that bad boy and driving it every day. So
I could see Dom in that. I think he would have so much fun cruising around. Well, I think it also speaks volumes of Mecum's collections, of how unique and how many different items that you can find here at Mecum auctions. So we go from the street to the water, and I love this Chris Craft that Alyssa talked about.
There was a time in America when the automobile wasn't the only symbol of freedom and luxury. Out on the water, one name stood above the rest. That was Chris Craft. Founded in the 1870s, it started as a tiny boat shop in Michigan and rose to prominence through the golden age of boating. Chris Craft built more than boats. They built status, craftsmanship, and lifestyle. Hand-shaped mahogany, polished chrome, long sweeping lines that made every arrival feel important. Growing up on Lake Tahoe, I have been fortunate enough to ride in some of these boats, and I've got to say that wooden craftsmanship truly cuts through the water like something that modern boats just can't seem to replicate. By the 1950s, Chris Craft had become the gold standard of American boating. Then, in 1955, came the Chris Craft Continental. Introduced as one of the most luxurious and powerful wooden boats of the era, this 25-foot Chris Craft Continental represented everything the company stood for. Powered by a massive Chrysler Marine V8 and wrapped in handcrafted woodwork, these boats weren't just built to cruise, they were built to be seen. And I don't blame them for adding this protective film during the journey here to Mecum auctions, as this boat was one of only 30 built. That rarity adds to its legend. The Continental became one of the rarest post-war Chris Crafts ever built. Decades later, this craftsmanship still turns heads, even here at Mecum auctions, surrounded by cars, trucks, motorcycles, road art, tractors, and so much more. You never know what you're going to find here at Mecum auctions, as they don't just auction off vehicles, they auction history like this 1950s Chris Craft.
you're good.
So the variety at Mecum auctions is amazing. And Alyssa, you did such an amazing job. That was such an incredible piece. I love it. She gets to, she grows up in Tahoe, so she spends a lot of time on boats and gets to talk about that. Our amazing producer. So she's a racer as well and does all the editing and the filming and calls our show for us. So Alyssa, amazing. I loved it. I love that piece, and I love seeing her involved with this. With this rarity, that's number 22 of 30 produced. So I don't know a lot about boats. I don't know if you do, but I saw the name Breeann. When you buy a boat in auction, would you keep the name? Is because the name is supposed to christen the boat, right? From the beginning. I think you keep the name. You don't know. You're giggling. You don't know. I don't know. I don't know. If you do, you keep the name. Okay, good. You keep Breeann. So not only do you get to buy this rare boat, but you get to keep the legacy going too of the Breeann.
Yeah,
so I just thought that was neat.
I'm also, since we opened up the conversation about boat protocols,
Sure.
I think it's important we dive into it. I wonder, I know it's on the maiden voyage you do the
champagne bottle,
but I think it's appropriate that as it changes ownership, I think a new owner could do that too.
Okay, I like that idea.
I think so.
Yeah, I would be really nervous with that mahogany body to take a champagne bottle. I think I'll just pop a bottle of champagne. Listen, the sound of champagne popping is like the song of my people, right? So you wanna find me, just pop a bottle of champagne and you bring that on the boat. And you can also on the boat. Did you see that little table?
I did.
Because you can bring champagne. I don't know. Would you have a mimosa with the orange sickle? That's interesting idea. I don't know if I'm gonna try it.
But I do like that Breeann could be christened with our morning show sponsor of Fun Time Soda. I like that. That'd be good. We'll have to do that. Yeah. We'll have to get a morning show.
Let's.
But I really like Laurette, that, as you mentioned, also that again represent the diversity. And Alyssa hit that in the package about. It really does speak to what all is here, crossing, and in this case, sailing across the block, as I like to say. The world of collecting is so diverse. Yeah. And, it's not just things with tires and engines. And I love that, that Chris Craft, a name that I think, by all counts is the Cadillac of the boating world, the equivalent of it.
Yeah.
And today, their products are still sought out around the world. And so neat that it's here. It goes hand in hand with the passion that drives the car collectors.
Mm-hmm.
It's rivaled by that of the road art, the motorcycles and the tractors and the boats, as Alyssa so eloquently said there in that package.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so staying with the rare theme, we go from the streets to the water to the racetrack with this one-of-one modified car.
I'm Sam Schmidt, founder and chairman of the Driven Neuro Foundation, which is all about spinal cord injury recovery. And this car is a 2014 Corvette Stingray. It was designed and built by Aero Electronics for me to drive with my head. They codenamed the project Semi-Autonomous Mobility, or SAM, long before they knew me, which was kind of serendipitous. And in May of 2014, we took it to the Speedway on qualification day and went 107 miles an hour. It was quite an event. I had not driven in 15 years, and to that point, there wasn't a drive system for a high-level quadriplegic like myself. So the car since then has been on the Bosch training grounds in Germany. It's been to Hong Kong, been around the world. It's won literally hundreds of technology awards, sat in the Smithsonian. It's got quite a history. Started racing motocross when I was 5 years old, and was very fortunate to make it as a driver to the Indy 500, 97, 98, 99. That career peaked in Las Vegas in September when I sat on the pole and won the race there in the Indy Racing League in 1999. Unfortunately, 4 months later, testing in Florida, backed into the wall and blew apart my C3, C4, C5 vertebrae. I've got a very powerful and resilient family, and fought back, got off the ventilator, and racing again. I mean, I was very fortunate to start a race team. We have a specialized facility in Las Vegas as well as here, basically giving people with neuro disabilities the same type of recovery and rehabilitation that I got 26 years ago. So racing's my passion, but driven is my purpose. People wonder how I buy cars without the use of my hands, but the auctioneers have figured that out quite well. And I love coming over here. I love Mecum. And when Aero a few months ago had the concept of donating this to the foundation, I said, there's really only one place we can auction this off, and that's Mecum Indy, the week before the Indy 500. I hope we get a couple people fighting over it. That would be fantastic.
Let's get a couple of people fighting for it. Absolutely. Because this car, at the top of the show, we were talking about rarity, and this is a one of one. This car debuted in 2014 at the Indy 500 for the qualifying laps on May 18th. So, we're coming up to the anniversary. It was driven by Sam with an average speed of 97 miles an hour. So he got about 4 laps in. Later laps, he did reach the 100 mile per hour mark. What a piece of history that this was not only driven by Sam on the racetrack, but it's such a inspirational car as well. So I love that this is coming to Mecum. I cannot wait to see this cross the auction block. And yeah, let's hope that it gets people fighting over it, because there's a lot of people that are excited. They need some hope, and especially with spinal cord injuries. If we're able to see this car hit the track again, with folks that maybe have had speed in their life before but are recovering from spinal injuries, maybe this is that ultimate moment that they get to have again. So I would love to see not only this car fought for here at Mecum Auctions, but also get back on the racetrack. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I love all the technology that's on it, Laurette. I mean, you can see it that in the rear hatch area and all throughout the cabin and even on the exterior, just all the amount of innovation that went into it. And it's also really exciting to see, that this car debuted over 10 years ago, in how I think it's really helped to kind of even blaze a trail for future efforts, of this kind. So, and it was great to chat with Sam, hear his passion and hear his excitement for this, and also to have him here as well. I know he's going to be coming back when this crosses the block. So
wow, yeah, that's amazing. And also during the 2015 Super Bowl, the Aero Sam car and Sam Schmidt were featured in a 30-second commercial titled "I Am a Race Car Driver." So yeah, lots of history with this car.
Lots of history, lots of diversity out here in terms of what's crossing the block, Laurette, and also a lot of ways to engage with Mecum Auctions. We've been talking about this, where in person is obviously the best experience, but Mecum continues to expand digitally. We have so many exciting things, whether it be a new level or a new island in Fortnite, but then also on Roku and Amazon streaming, you can now find Mecum TV. So there's a lot of ways to get your Mecum fix, in addition to coming out and joining us here.
All the things. We love that. And of course, we want to hear from you through all the things. So we want to especially hear your comments. What are some of the rare cars that you really enjoyed seeing for this show, or that that are coming up for auction here in Indy? What are the cars that you would really, one, love to drive, and two, what would you love to take home?
Absolutely. And as we wind down, thanks for joining us for the official live pre-auction show. The auction is going to be starting soon, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for more Mecum in the Morning. Laurette, we are just getting started with the action here, and I think we need to go find some road art. Let's go.
Let's go.